Welcome to my Paula Vaughan celebration. I'm so happy that my video that showcased the book, The Best of Paula Vaughan, Book 2, reached 400 views on the 4th of July. That I want to celebrate that. I'm going to start stitching another Paula Vaughan pattern. I have not quite decided yet. I have 3 that I'm stitching on currently, and we're going to add a 4th so that I will be stitching 4. And we're going to celebrate also by looking at some Paula Vaughan patterns that I haven't shown you yet. I have a few books from my mother and a few of mine that I have not yet shown you. And, well, let's just go ahead and get started. We'll start with bouquets and blossoms. And the designs in this, most of the patterns, the needlework pattern is orchestrated or done or whatever by Jane Chandler, except for the last, or one of the last ones I'll show you, which is Pillows from Paula's Garden. That's by Sandra Orton. They're all based on the painting or the artwork that Paula Vaughan did. So in bouquets and blossoms, we have lots of flowers. So, and some of these patterns are in the book I already showed you. At least a couple of them, 2 or 3 of them. So this one is Simply Sunflowers. I just love this, the color, that you have this great big bouquet of sunflowers and then lots of details like shading and back stitching that really make you feel like you're right there with the flowers. This one is called Just Picked Jonquils. I actually don't love the color in this one. I mean, I do, but I like my daffodils a little lighter colored yellow, like in this picture over here. This is a little dark for me. I like this. Now, maybe when you actually stitch it, it doesn't turn out that dark. Like maybe it's just the photograph. But anyhow, I think if they were that right shade of yellow, this would be the design I would pick because of how much I love daffodils, and that's a great big amount. Then I also love the irises in this picture. The color of the watering can is really awesome. And even the flowers around the fence in the background are really pretty. This one's called Wildflower Rhapsody, and it's one of the ones I'm really thinking about stitching right now. And yeah, it just feels like you could reach out and touch those flowers. They're so pretty. This one is Windsill Serenade. I believe there's a lot of French knots on this pattern that help make the flowers look really great. And my favorite's actually the window, the background. I know a lot of times that's not supposed to be your favorite part of a design, but for me, I really like that window and those shutters. This one is called Hydrangea Harvest. And the flowers are a lovely color. If you'll notice, like in the details, that wheelbarrow has the flower painted on the side. And also what a pretty fence in the background. This one is called Sweetest Regards. Back when people mailed letters to each other more. Could really look forward to going and getting the mail when you weren't just getting bills and junk mail. We've got plenty of that back then too. Like constantly being told that we had won a jackpot. which they don't do that anymore, do they? Rosy Repose. I am currently stitching this one. Yeah, so I've shown this one before, but I love that rocking chair, and of course the roses are incredible. Look at the geranium. This one is Wild and Wonderful. So, yeah, that's such a pretty bouquet of flowers, and then the speckling on the blue picture is really good. Here we have two. One, uh, remember their names. I remember the one. The other one is called Iris Afternoon, is this one. And this one is Daylily Debut. And they're so cute and small. This one is Violet Vignettes. Of course, they have the beautiful violets and the pretty china, the roses that you can see through the window, and the little wallpaper, and the lace doily. Lots of things to recommend that one. I think this is maybe the prettiest bouquet I've seen in a Paula Vaughan design. And then, of course, the hat with the rose. Really pretty. And that pretty vase. This is the last one in this book called Poetic Gathering. It has a pretty basket, really well designed, the crossstitch. And that is the largest bouquet of pink roses. I guess there's a few red roses in there. And look at even the detail on the gloves. There's even a book of poetry in the basket. It looked like maybe French poems. So the next book is also my mother's pattern. It's called Summer Breeze. This is a very much larger design than a lot of the others I've shown you. But you get a great big Victorian mansion with a big old tree and a swing and a lovely quilt. And I love the way the sunlight dapples the lawn in the background. You get lots of flowers still, of course. And yeah, even like all the little details, like you can even see violets way back in the background there. See this? So this is very tempting. Um, Very tempting. It says this one, and I have this one in my book. So I have shown you this one before. This one's called Good Neighbors. You're on this porch of this little house with a porch swing and quilt and lots of beautiful flowers. And then you can see the neighbors and their houses, and it's very pleasant. And like when you look at the details in these, one of the things I love is like even the shadow of the gingerbread detail on the wall. Like it's just lovely. And then in my books, we'll just start with my leaflet, which is like the other two things I just showed you, which is Victory Garden. And one of the ones I'm really thinking hard about maybe doing one of the really big Paula Vaughans because, wow, it's a lot of work, right? But the sooner you start, the better on a big project, not later. And You know, for you 30 and 40-year-old ladies, no big deal to put it off 10 or 15 years. But when you are my age, you start to think, will I still be able to see, or will I have arthritis, or will my neck be too bent over? Like, just, yeah, it's all getting really close at hand in stitching time, because stitching time is not a year. It's, for a big project like this. I guess if you're someone who stitches on one thing only, it's a year, maybe. Not me, but anyway, this one's called Victory Garden, and this is that same yellow porch, the other direction. You can see how you can see that, and then look at that pretty pink Victorian house, and I do love the vegetable garden right there. You can even see the little American flags announcing that this is a Victory Garden there at the gate. That's one of my favorite quilt patterns that's on the chair. And then I just love that there's, like, besides the swing, you've got the rocking chair for somebody to sit in. You've got, like, flowers on the porch, the gingerbread with the shadow. It's just, it's wonderful. Okay, we'll do quilts for all seasons because the pillows from Paula's Garden is a little different from the others, and this is more the classic Paula Vaughan that I think of, especially just for quilts. There are so many Paula Vaughan books, like there's a lot. So I really just have a handful of what is out there, and I'm only gonna stitch a few of what I have. Um, One might think one wouldn't need more, but one might also think one might. Anyhow, we'll go ahead and look through this. Um, yeah, and I'm the one thinking all those things. Okay. Um, yeah, there's 12 designs in this because they're named for each month of the year. So this is January, and that quilt design is Snow Crystal. And so obviously the quilt is the best thing in this. But you still have this pretty winter scene and sewing basket and cushion. And very nice. So if you really love blue or winter or any of that, you might want to do that one. Meaning I don't know that I love winter, but I do love the blue with the white. That's pretty. This one's February. Look at that pretty rocking chair, wallpaper, sewing basket, and the quilt and the heart on the rocking chair. Just spools of thread on the rolled onto the floor. I love it all. This one is March. And yeah, you'd think I'd had enough of porch scenes, but really I haven't. I love this. I love the door, the tulip quilt, the flower basket quilt. Better. The potted plants, the loose petals on the porch, and spools of thread. Okay, here we go. April. Butterflies on a quilt and above the flowers. I don't think that I would ever put a quilt on a butterfly, even to paint a pretty picture. But some people make lots and lots of quilts, so maybe they can afford to. Um, this is another one of my favorite quilt patterns, which is Grandmother's Flower Garden. This one is for May. Love the wicker rocking chair. And yeah, the irises, of course, and the sewing basket. Here is June, and that is a double wedding ring quilt celebrating all the June weddings. So that's why we've got on the clothesline. Um, my clothesline would sag in the middle if I hung all that on it. I guess that's why they have a little pole there to hold the clothesline up a little bit. It doesn't look to me like it's working. I mean, like it would be enough to do. Here we go. This is July. That's a 9-pouch quilt, and that's a lovely porch swing. And of course, roses and geraniums. Here is August. This is a Rose of Sharon quilt. This might make some of you quilters want to pull out your quilt rather than your cross stitch, but yeah, that's really pretty. Those roses, that rose vine, very nice. Okay, here we have September. It's a schoolhouse pattern, apple tree, old-fashioned lunchbox, very cool looking fence in the background. The fence might actually be my favorite part, even more than the apple tree, and I do love apple trees. This is a flying geese quilt for October. And beautiful door, apples, leaves. It's autumn. And here is our last autumn picture, which is November. We get pumpkins and a maple leaf quilt, and a wagon. And our last one in this book is December. This is probably, in this book, this is maybe the one I would most likely stitch if I'm going to do one of the, I don't know, because I don't think I have a real interior. I have the embroidery hoop one that I'm doing, but that's more like focused in on items and not like a room. So this one that celebrates Christmas is lovely. It says here that poinsettias, when they were first introduced to America, they were called flower of the holy night. But I mean, so the quilt is beautiful. I love the Raggedy Ann and teddy bear in the wagon. That's my favorite part. The images of childhood. And then the second favorite part for me is the Christmas part. You could not stitch the Christmas part and just like stitch that little wagon if you wanted, but anyway, I'd do the whole thing. And then the last book I'm going to show you is Pillows from Paula's Garden. Very tempting because of all of the beautiful flowers that you get to do. And also you get to make a pillow. I guess you could just frame it and not make it a pillow. We've got a magnolia. Isn't that lovely? The shading is incredible. That's just like the most perfect magnolia. And black-eyed Susans. Also, these are really well-made, pretty pillows. I love them. And here we have zinnias. I think the finishing on that pillow is really great. I love the fringe. Something to remember if when I make another pillow. I'm not sure how they did this on the edge, but look at how pretty that edge is, and as well as the pillow itself. Yeah, those roses are just perfect. If you're gonna make a rose pillow, why not this one? The other pictures are here on the back. These are all wild roses, my favorite. Got pink wild roses. They're all pink. Light pink, dark pink, both of them together. And my problem, oh, and in the front we have the irises and the iris and the hydrangea. Look at those leaves. Like that's so, yeah, my only problem with this book is knowing which one to pick. Like this is my problem with any of these Paula Vaughans. Like if you look at these all have Paula Vaughan patterns on the back. Some of them are a lot of the same ones that I have. But I think what you would find in looking at them is like you're not going to go wrong whichever one you do pick. So like I mean I could close my eyes and pick one. to do, really. I'm not going to regret stitching it. I'm just going to regret that I didn't stitch everything else. So I hope you pull out your Paula Vaughan projects to work on, or start another one, buy another one, and just really enjoy all of the great Paula Vaughan designs there are.